There you are. Excuse me. This is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant morning, and I'm just having my first morning coffee and a bit of a Druthers moment. And yes, again, I can highly recommend this little newspaper. I'm going to leave links below. It is absolutely incredible, and it is so refreshing to have well-written articles about issues that are really important to all of us. I often lament the fact that, if we all did just a little bit, how much different this world could actually be. And that's what it is dependent on. Not that we all do a huge amount, or a few people do a huge amount, but that we all do a little bit towards keeping this world a little fairer, a little bit more honest, open and transparent, and that our government respects our wishes rather than enforcing its wishes. And now in the case of Canada, from a third party over in Europe called the World Economic Forum. And incidentally, by the way, I am reading Mark Carney's book, Values, and wow. Even in the first 30 pages, you can see how much he is influenced by the World Economic Forum and the World Economic Forum's thinking. Basically, he is basing his whole governance on three crises. The first is the financial crisis, the second is the climate crisis, and the third is the COVID crisis. And that is how he's going to run his administration. However, we're not here to talk about that today. We are here to talk about freedom wins. And believe it or not, as dark as it seems out there, we are winning. The level of censorship and the cacophony of voices coming from which country? Pick a country. And there is just absolute panic going on. But the censorship is the big one. The more they try and censor you, they only try and censor you when you're flying over the target. Okay, so they know that their whole narrative is in trouble, which is why they need to shut everyone's voice down who is talking a different narrative. But it's too late, my friends. It's too late. And Druthers is just one of the many avenues. Even YouTube seems to have changed its attitude a little bit, but certainly Rumble and BitChute are great sources of information. Now, you've got to pick and choose, but it is fairly apparent, and quite often in Druthers, I'm not sure if it's in this issue, but they have a list of really recommendable websites, blog post sites, YouTube channels, that kind of stuff. So yes, that's what we need to do, is to find out this information and all do a little bit. Okay, so without further ado, let's go on to Freedom Wins, and I'll do a wrap up after that. Okie dokie, here we go. Okay, here we go. Freedom Wins from Druthers. A truck seized by Ottawa police following the truckers' convoy has finally been returned after 1,136 days. The Crown had applied for permanent forfeiture of Norman Blanchfield's truck because it was instrumental in the Freedom Convoy and Rolling Thunder protest. Well, finally, I'm so glad you've got your truck back and your means of earning a living. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced the United States won't be contributing to the Bill and Melinda Gates-funded Vaccine Alliance, Gavi, since the Global Health Organization has lost the public's trust. Now, that's quite a statement from Robert F. Kennedy. Chris Carbett was one of the so-called Coots 4 linked to the February 2022 border blockade of Coots, Alberta, has been released from custody. After more than 3 years behind bars, Carbett is now back with his family while the legal proceedings continue. In 2022, questioning school library books that promoted puberty blockers got teacher Caroline Projowski silenced, smeared as transphobic, and dragged into a legal fight. But in a win for free speech, Ontario's top court ruled her defamation case against the school board can move forward. The US Olympic and Paralympic Committee has complied with President Trump's executive order to ban men from women's sports. The US Olympic Committee said it would now ensure a fair and safe competitive environment for women. Weren't you always supposed to be doing that? I mean, I can't believe that you had to be told, to keep men out of women's sports. Unbelievable. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy sent a letter to the governors of all 50 states telling them to remove potentially dangerous distractions from intersections and roadways. In a post on X about the letter, Duffy wrote, "Taxpayers expect the dollars to fund safe streets, not rainbow crosswalks. Political banners have no place on public roads." Absolutely, absolutely. The U.S. Department of Agriculture takes bold action to protect American agriculture from foreign threats. The National Farm Security Action Plan is a 7-point initiative aimed at securing U.S. farmland from foreign adversaries, including China. In a win for free speech, British Columbia's billboard Chris Elston has successfully overturned an Australian government order that censored his ex-post under the country's Online Safety Act. Elston's 2024 post criticised the World Health Organization's appointment of controversial expert Teddy Cook and referred to Cook using biological accurate pronouns. Australia's e-safety commissioner labelled the post cyber abuse and ordered X, formerly Twitter, to remove it. A groundbreaking new scientific resource has been released, the COVID-19 mRNA Vaccine Harms Research Collection, featuring over 700 peer-reviewed studies detailing the biological risks associated with COVID-19 mRNA injections. And the most recent one actually was an interesting one from Japan that basically said that there was most definitely a causal link between the vaccine and the increases in unexpected deaths. Deborah Conrad, a physician assistant who was fired from Rochester Regional Health for over-reporting vaccine adverse events, has been vindicated by a federal court. The U.S. court has ruled that hospitals must report adverse events and can even be held liable if they don't. Absolutely. That is an amazing win. These are all going down as precedents. Remember that. These are precedents being set right now. Under pressure from new federal policies, Children's Hospital Los Angeles, U.S.'s largest provider of gender procedures for youth, as well as the Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C., and UChicago Medicine, have shut down their transgender interventions for minors, ending all so-called gender-affirming pediatric procedures. While the hospital cited compliance concerns, the result is a step towards protecting children from irreversible medical interventions. And I think this is what we're all saying is let children be children. And, if you're not old enough to drive a car until you're 18 or join the army or sign a contract because you're not responsible enough, then you certainly are not responsible enough to undergo an irreversible medical intervention. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has signed a recommendation to remove the mercury-based preservative thimerosal from flu vaccines in the U.S., a major step towards safer, cleaner vaccines and greater medical transparency. Conservative MPs Andrew Lawton and Tamara Jansen are stepping up to defend the vulnerable by launching a national campaign to stop the expansion of Canada's assisted dying laws made to those with mental illness. Their stand pushes back against a system that risks offering death instead of real help and hope. In a major win for common sense and religious freedom, the Democracy Fund successfully overturned the conviction of several Amish Canadians who were fined over $38,000 for not using the ArriveCan app, a digital tool that they wouldn't use due to their faith. After 7 months of legal battles, all charges were dropped and all the fines waived. And I don't even think they have cell phones, do they? They might have landlines, but I don't think they have a smartphone, so they couldn't use the app anyway. Well, if you're like me, you will have enjoyed basking in those wins. And, this is going to take a long time, but I've always said that one way or another, this will be settled in the courts. And now we are getting precedent after precedent set, and this is really important, because you need that precedent to go into the courtroom. But so many people, even the Supreme Court of the USA, are siding with the unconstitutionality of the lockdowns and the firing of people because they wouldn't take a certain substance. Okay, now, like I say, this will take a few years, but we will win in the end, and we have to think much more long term. I think one of the big issues that we're having is that people are expecting like a 5-minute remedy, and we're dealing with 100-year thinkers, and we have to put ourselves in the same state of mind and pace ourselves, because I see so many patriots who are just being absolutely exhausted mentally, because it is draining, because it seems like you're going nowhere, and that is one of the principal weapons that the government and all of these organizations use, is to wear you down, because they know that it's a real hardship to push hard for a long time, but you do as much just by changing your lifestyle. Shopping in different places, talking to people, sharing the information one-on-one. We are so many. If I share, some information with 5 people, and they share it with 2 people each, and so on and so on. So, do not underestimate these small things that we do to try and bring about change. They're more effective than you might possibly think. Okay, well, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant morning, and we'll talk very, very shortly. See you now.